Welcome back to The Explainer. Tonight, a conversation that I've been promising you, and here we are now. It is happening in Africa for the second time, in Kenya for the first time. The International Association of Science Parks and Areas of Innovation hosting its annual international conference here, courtesy, of course, of Konza Technopolis. I want to talk all about that and innovation. Where are we? Where do we sit in the continent? What does it look like globally? My guests are here with me. Very pleased to have you all here with me tonight. Engineer John Tanui, who's the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of ICT and Digital Economy. Lena Miranda, who's the Board President at Iasp, which is the International Association of Science Parks. And Salvatore Majorana, who is Vice President and a member of the Executive Board of Iasp. And last but certainly not least, who is the host of this conference, is John Paul Okwiri, who is the CEO of Konza Technopolis. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time on the program tonight. Start with you, the host, John. First of all, I'm really fascinated because this is a good moment to get to know what's happening in Konza, but I'll put my excitement aside for a moment. But hosting this Iasp conference, tell us about this conference, of course, the excitement that it is in Kenya for the first time.
Thank you, Yvonne, for having us for this interview. We are glad that we are hosting the world in Kenya for the second time in Africa. As Konza Technopolis, we became members of the ISP in associate members in the year 2017. Then in the year 2021, we became full members and we bid to host this conference. And we are glad that the world leaders were comfortable with us and were satisfied with our contribution, and they were able to have confidence and host us and accept us to host this 41st conference in Kenya. Therefore, as Konza Technopolis, this is our opportunity to showcase what we are doing as a country in as far as science, technology, innovation is concerned. And the theme for this year's conference is demographics, entrepreneurship and technology, defining the frontiers of future economies. And as you can see, in Kenya and Africa, we have a very young population who are very tech savvy. And then how do we harness this expertise of our young people to be able to establish, be entrepreneurs and earn a living from this innovation and technology. Therefore, we welcome the world, and we are glad tomorrow we'll be officially opening the conference, and we welcome all delegates to come and join us in this year's conference.
How many are we expecting, do you think, and from how many countries?
We have at least 50 countries from different nationalities represented, and tomorrow we'll be able to showcase what Kenya has to offer in as far as innovation, technology and science, research, academia is concerned.
Yeah, and that's a huge delegation. Lena, tell us about the IASP, as the International Association of Science Parks. You know, Kenya became an associate member. Let's understand this member body.
Yes, so the International Association of Science Parks and Areas of Innovation, it's been operating for 40 years. It's a gathering the different projects, the science parks, the areas of innovation, but also the innovation districts. And we have members in more than 76 countries, a total of, I think, 320 members around the world. So it's a network of innovation pioneers, you could say, that come together, learn the best practices, and inspire one another with different new projects arising, like the Konza Technopolis here in Kenya, but also in other parts of the world, but also like benchmarking the innovation policies and learning from one another. So it's a wonderful network. Sometimes I call it the global family of innovation. And this is the highlight of the year. It's the World Conference, to be able to meet one another in person and share new thoughts and insights.
Yeah, and you know, P.S. Tanui, this is a feather in Kenya's cap to be hosting, you know, a conference such as this. What would you say about, you know, Kenya's role in the technology and innovation space?
Kenya over the years has really made very significant progress in positioning itself as a technology hub and also in the area of innovation. We are very happy that Konza Technopolis is part of the over 300 members of these networks. When Konza was conceived, we looked at it being part of the global innovation hubs, like the Research Triangle in North Carolina, like the Malacca Tech Hub in Spain, like the ones we see in Israel, the innovation ecosystem in Israel, like what we see in Shenzhen, China, like what we see in Korea. So for us to walk this journey and to be able to host this event when we are just maybe less than 5 years since we became a member is an amazing achievement, because it would have taken us probably 76 years to wait if we were to queue for the other countries to host. So it's a huge, huge achievement, and we appreciate the support we receive from the rest of the continent, because we have the African division, which I'm privileged to lead, and we have countries like South Africa, Botswana, Nigeria, who also supported us in bidding and lobbying and sharing the experiences for Kenya to be able to host this event. So it brings the very best from the world. It gives us the examples, the journeys. We have those who have been in existence for over 40 years, others 30 years, and Kenya being less than 5 years or so in operation. So we have opportunity to learn from the very best and to be able to really achieve synergy from their experience. So from Kenya's side, we believe this will accelerate Kenya's trajectory in innovation. It's just like hosting a global sports event, which we are like Olympics. So in science and technology, this means the same for us. It will have a long-lasting impact in the ecosystem of Kenya.
All right, this is the Olympics of science and innovation.
Yes, for sure.
I like that. It's an apt description of the same. Salvatore, I'd like to get your views now about where technology is. I know John started off by talking about the theme, taking a look at demographics, entrepreneurship, and technology, and it's highlighted the demographic space that Kenya and Africa is. I mean, the average age of perhaps in Kenya is what, 19? That may not be the same everywhere across the world. So when you take a look at the theme that is highlighted here, demographics, entrepreneurship, and technology, what does that look like on a global space?
Well, this is precisely one of the main reasons for having Konza hosting this event. They picked on a very specific and very important theme. Demographics is changing a lot across the world. We come from very different countries, and being capable to mix the demographic trends of each country with the capability that technologies will allow us, it's key for future benefit of population all over. Definitely we are moving into the digital era, so technology is looking at whatever digital will mean, digital production in the manufacturing space, robotics, but also digital into the medicine space to work with new approaches to define new cures, new drugs. But telecommunication is being key, and of course, on top of everything, AI will make a huge difference. Being capable to intercept a very young population into this new technology trend will give rise to an enormous potential in terms of future development. And we believe Kenya is in an exceptional position to do so. And their Konza's project is really a flagship in this sense.
Elena, when we talk about technology transfer and perhaps what people will be, what different countries, regions will be learning from each other. So Africa is obviously, in terms of demographics, has a much younger population than perhaps other parts of the world. Yeah. But then there's also great technological advancements that have happened, not just here, but in other parts of the world. What does that exchange of ideas look like in your view? What, What sort of conversations
a lot we can learn from one another. And, and Mr. Tanui and I had the pleasure of visiting a Swedish startup yesterday, right? Monday?
Yes, on Monday.
Called Drome Electrics, who are based here in Nairobi. It's a Swedish startup, started 5 years ago, and today they design, develop, and produce their bikes, electric motorbikes here in Nairobi. And they have 200 employees. 90% of them comes from Kenya and are being recruited from the best universities of your country. I think this is a great example where you have a transfer of technology from Sweden, mechanical engineers and designers, but also Kenya having the energy transition policies that makes this market so attractive, and also the Eastern Africa market to come here, to start your company here, and to get a chance to grow your company. And from what they told us, they had been very good, had a good welcome as a new startup to a new market, which it is for them. So I'm very eager to learn more about how you can grow the startup environment, the hubs, foster the scale-ups, and also take it into the whole continent.
Yes.
So that is one example. We also have a great example, another Swedish-Kenyan collaboration, which is about how to safeguard the rhinos. Professor from Linköping University that has been working here for more than 10 years, using IoT technology, Internet of Things, sensors, and also drones to safeguard the rhinos. And now we're taking technology back to Sweden and safeguarding the reindeers and the cows. Oh. 2 examples. Okay. But I think there's a lot to learn from one another. Yeah. It's not going one way, it's going both ways.
Yeah, and those are 2 great examples I think that you've given that highlight exactly that mutual exchange of ideas and knowledge. Engineer Tanui, I'd like to talk about for a minute, just take us a little bit back to the pandemic, because we're in the process of building back better, right?
Yes.
From that. And we saw what happened with, the disruption of global supply chains and technology. To what extent do you think that has shaped where we are with technologies today, or maybe sudden changes that it triggered in our minds following that global pandemic?
The COVID-19 period had huge impact in global economy, the supply chain, as you mentioned, and it caused many organizations to rethink how they run their businesses. Some decided to look how to secure and diversify their supply chains. And it's an opportunity that Kenya and Africa is looking at, how to tap this supply chain. There was also this issue of wars in some regions, which also affected the supply chain. So COVID-19 and some destabilized the supply chain caused by wars also created a huge opportunity that Africa can become also a source of supply of materials to the global market. And this is some of the areas we are looking at, especially the area of electronics and semiconductor, which every other region is looking at, so that you can secure your supply chain. So it created opportunities. The other issue is also it brought the risk that countries who didn't have capabilities to solve their own problems, like manufacture vaccines, would actually be probably the last to receive those vaccines. And this morning we had a side event of the Iasp Conference, where we had the IVI, International Vaccine Institute, Korea Advanced Institute, and the Kenya Advanced Institute at Konza Technopolis this morning. And the conversation is Kenya's journey towards manufacturing its own vaccine. And that's one issue that arose through the COVID-19. And we are very happy that this progress now with Ministry of Health, Biovax, and the Korea team, we are seeing that possibility. So we are looking also, like what Lena mentioned about the ecosystems, the global ecosystems. How do we take advantage of now this network we have to be able to allow startups that are starting in any of our 300 sparks that they can actually grow in any of the regions. The example she has given of Rome, 2017, it started in Linköping University Science Park, where Lena actually is the CEO. And 2018, it relocated to Kenya. And today, it's vibrant, employing many young people, has produced thousands of EV bikes, which are taking advantage of the Kenyan ecosystem and planning to scale. Yeah. So we see the effect of COVID-19 reshaping supply chain, reshaping our opportunities that African continent can also contribute as a source of supply chain.
Yeah, but I think it also then made us more aware of how to use tech to solve all of those challenges that you've talked about, because from being able to meet out in public to now being enclosed, I mean, I think there was a greater uptake of tech in just about every sphere.
Actually, indeed, I think our conference, one of the conference became virtual during that time, and there was huge adoption of connectivity solutions. Right. Yeah. And probably that's why we developed our digital master plan as Kenya, where we now look at connecting every part of our country so that in case of such disruptions, we are able to still connect digitally. Yeah,
yeah. And it's just learning lessons that it can work virtually, and it actually provides, even greater access. It democratizes access to all sorts of things, government services and that sort of thing.
And the absence of vaccines or difficulties to access also pointed the importance of science parks. Because if you check where did the solutions of vaccines came, where to the best solutions of our problems arise is from science parks, which are part of this network of international association. So we are looking at tapping and growing this science park to address our problems. It will grow opportunities for employment. It will enable our startups to grow, to create wealth for our country, and it will also solve our solutions, which gives us sovereignty in addressing certain issues.
Interesting. So let's talk about, Kenya's science park, and that's Konza Technopolis. John, what's been happening? We know you've been busy, but maybe you can bring us up to date with latest progress there.
The conceptualization of Konza Technopolis began in the year 2008. That is when Kenya was developing the Vision 2030, and we were able to get approvals in the year 2010. And then by the year 2014, we began the master planning and developing of the guidelines to develop this city. This city is being developed as a sustainable smart city and an area of innovation that is going to contribute to our country's knowledge economy. So we began by ensuring that we are able to master plan the city, and we engaged expertise in the name of Master Delivery Partner 1, Partner 2, who are able to develop for us the master plan, the guidelines that are required in as far as developing of a smart city is concerned. And in the year 2016, we were able to have our first strategic plan, which spoke about laying the foundation. And laying the foundation in this case involved developing the infrastructure. Konza Technopolis Development Authority's mandate is to develop the basic infrastructure, and that is the mandate of the government. The vertical infrastructure is supposed to be developed by the private sector. Konza in itself is an investment destination, and it's also a special economic zone. So this provides incentives for our investors and private sector to be able to develop the vertical infrastructure, put in the money, and ensure that developments happen. So since 2016, we were able to start the construction of the infrastructure. And we did this in phase one. Phase one includes about 600 acres of land that has now been completed in as far as infrastructure is concerned. We have the road network, the utilities, water system, sewage system, fiber optic, power, reticulation, all that is well planned and has been developed. Now we are in the second strategic plan, where we are talking about accelerating the impact of the Technopolis. And in this case, we are now mobilizing and enticing the various investors whom we've allocated parcels of land to now start up the construction of the Technopolis. We have been lucky to have various investors go through the stages of development, and several of them are now towards construction permitted, which is the final step for investors to start construction. And in the next few months, we'll be able to have a lot of construction activities going on in the Technopolis. We've been able to have several projects also that have been supported by the government of Kenya. In the name of anchor tenant, we have the Kenya Advanced Institute of Science and Technology, which is now complete. And in the next year, we'll be able to have the first intake of students. And it is a graduate-only university, which is attracting students in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And these are students that will be taking academic activities on research and development, so that we are able to have more innovations coming up from the science park, that is Konza Technopolis. We've also been able to establish a state-of-the-art national data center, which is uptime certified. And we've been able now to host data in as far as having all the data located in a cloud compute environment. So all these are activities that have taken place in Konza Technopolis, making it vibrant. And today we were able to host delegates who came to the Technopolis, and they are able to give feedback. Yeah. And of course, they are able to give feedback on how, as a Technopolis, we are doing, and as a country. And you know, Konza speaks to the future of this country in as far as knowledge-based economy, creative economy, digital economy is concerned. And it will help our country move away from the conventional economies in as far as agriculture is concerned, industries. And we are moving to knowledge-based economy, digital economy. Thereby, we'll be able to have a productive life and quality life for our citizens.
Okay, that's interesting. Can you tell us about, maybe you might not mention all the investors that you have, but maybe give us a scope of, you know, are they in medical, are they, you know?
Yes, yes.
Tell us a little bit about the...
In phase one, where the infrastructure is complete, we have 147 parcels. Over 100 parcels have already been allocated to investors. And these investors range from commercial investors investing in commercial activities, shopping malls, shopping complexes, businesses. We also have investors in housing, and very soon we'll be having investors breaking ground to construct large-scale housing for the Technopolis. We also have investors in education. Riara University, for example, has already set base and has broken ground and is currently constructing. We also have various investors also setting up medical manufacture parks in the Technopolis. And very soon, all these are investors that have come up. We also have a digital media city that has been fully supported by the Korea government. And this will help us to have a facility for gaming, animation, media, fashion, and all this is also part of the activities that are currently happening in the Technopolis. We are also in the process of establishing several activities related with industrial parks. We have a light industrial zone that has already been taken up by investors, ready to set up base in as far as light manufacturing is concerned. We've also been able to master plan the whole of 10-kilometer radius of the city. Konza Technopolis is a 5,000-acre piece of land, but then as a government, we know that if we do not plan the buffer zone, then the investment that is being put in the 5,000 acres will not be meaningful. Therefore, we've worked together with the 3 county governments, county government of Machakos, county government of Makueni, and county government of Kajiado, to ensure that 10-kilometer radius around the city is also master planned, so that we don't have informal settlement around the city. This will make the Technopolis have value and impact to the entire community. To
the surrounding community. Yes. That is interesting. Salvatore, what do science parks look like? across other parts of the world, because we've gotten a comprehensive understanding of what's happening at Konza Technopolis here. But perhaps give us an overview of, the developments, what's happening, not just here, but across the world.
Well, science parks are areas where companies, research institutions get together to develop innovation programs. This is the simplest definition that I can pull out. They're very different from place to place. They are very much related to the environment they grow in, and therefore they become more specialized in life science where it's needed, or manufacturing on the other way. Or they are a pool of different resources coming from very different disciplines. You can find both medicine, robotics, IT, and fintech, something Kenya is very ahead in. They are normally a place where people have a chance to bump into each other. Proximity is a value in science parks. So having the potential to capture talents and have them working side by side, even though they are not meant to get in touch the one with the other, that happens. And that gives value to a tremendous resource in exchanging ideas on way to approach it. There are places where young entrepreneurs can find their space. So if you have an idea and maybe it's crazy and out of every other agenda, a science park is the place to go. You will find something that gives you support and enthusiasm. And maybe money too, because that is a place where venture capitalists and angel investors come and look for opportunities. And there is several statistics that say that ideas that grow within a fertile environment, such as those of science parks and areas of innovation, they become more resilient towards the obvious difficulties they will encounter. So what do they look like? It's an hectic conglomerate of different competencies, exchanging ideas the one with the other. And that's the more lively idea that I can pass you, I think.
Yeah, and how does Konza compare? I mean, let's get your perspective, sort of bird's eye view, or outside looking in view. What are you seeing in terms of for lack of a better word, innovation inside these areas of innovation? What's new? What's exciting that's happening in South Africa, in Kenya, I don't know, in Egypt, in in Latin America or in Europe, for instance?
Every wary economy is looking at science parks as a means to develop the future of the country. And so, not surprisingly, Kenya is adopting a strategy which is very much in line with what's being observed all over the world, especially in developing countries. What's very exciting about Konza, we've been there, and is an amazing project from scratch, which needed a lot of courage to be settled down, and I'm sure a lot of work and effort to bring it up to what it is today. But if you go to the demo center, which I may invite everyone to pay a visit to, it is a real concept of what the new city should look like. Everything is interconnected. They've already planned for the next 12 years or 20 years in terms of traffic, people mobility, waste management, water management. The environmental aspects are kept into account in a very savvy way. So what I would say, they're very well on the right path. I can't wait to see in the next 10 years because I'm sure they will be loaded with tech companies and startups coming in and out.
Yeah, and that's an interesting one. Yes, Lena?
Yeah, I would just like to add that it's amazing to see the whole city coming together and the whole infrastructure that is laid in the ground and around the whole area. I was also particularly happy to see the investment in the young people, the Open University and the academia establishing in the Science Park, because I think this is really, really important. You have such a young population, as you said, and to educate and inspire the future population and giving them a sense of hope, and also describing how they can contribute in facing social challenges of the future, engage in climate crisis, engage in social impact projects, and driving sustainability. That's also a very important task for the Science Park of the future, to engage the young population. And I know you are working very hard with that as well.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, and you know, having all of them here, meeting, I'm hoping they're all going to get to go to Konza, everybody?
Yes, they were there today.
They were there today.
All the delegates.
All the delegates.
All the
and
delegates.
have seen what's happening there, because I guess that's where now you start to get an understanding and the benchmarking of that. Engineer, preparations, government has said we're... tell us about that as we prepare. Tomorrow is when it all begins. Well, sort of began today with the trip, but so tell us what to expect over the next couple of days.
So the delegates started arriving 2 days ago, and others even arrived probably a week ago, because Kenya is quite an interesting destination. So others want to explore Masai Mara, like Salvatore to Malindi. And so we have guests who have arrived, our delegates. Tomorrow is the official opening. We are privileged that the Deputy President, His Excellency Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, will be officially opening tomorrow. And then we will have some keynote speech, and the presentation of some of the papers will start and will continue throughout the week until Friday. We're expecting exchange, sharing of knowledge. There are many papers, presentations from across the world. It's quite an exciting opportunity, especially for us, the African continent. The world shifted towards knowledge economy, where wealth, job creation is largely created in the knowledge economy space. And we need to accelerate our efforts as an African continent. So we are using this opportunity to learn, to share experiences, and also in some areas, like fintech, as you mentioned, we have made good progress. How do we solidify that achievement and take it to the next level? How do we make it so that they address our problems? Because one of the biggest problems we have is job creation, wealth creation, and some of the things you look at economies is what do we export, what we offer the world, and that tells us the opportunities we have, because we still process or exporting and processed products, largely agricultural products. We compare ourselves with countries like Malaysia, who exports probably $378 billion, when our exports is in the range of 7 billion. They are doing 50 times more than us. And when you look the content, what is it that they export? You go inside, you find out 20 to 30% is actually electronics, semiconductors, premium products that actually will change the economy. That's the area we want to go, and we are learning, we are exchanging with this Science Park. So we are able to go to the location where ideas, they are tools of transforming economies. Science parks are actual tools that countries and nations can use to transform the economy. So Konza Technopolis is one such vehicle we want to use. We have countries like South Africa, they have the Innovation Hub. We have Botswana, we are in discussions with them, Eswatini, our colleagues from Zimbabwe, the BS of Zimbabwe is in the country. We have a team from Nigeria. So as a continent also, we are really having serious conversations and having meetings even with the board and seeing how can we accelerate the adoption of science parks across the continent, so that we can now allow these ideas, because what he mentioned is you need somebody with an idea and they take it to a place. We don't lack ideas as a continent, we don't lack ideas as a people, but what has been the gap is where to grow this idea so that it can flourish. Like the example Lena mentioned of Rome, this company, they had an idea. Now it's a blossoming company. employing a large number of people, addressing a problem in our country in e-mobility. So we believe we have an opportunity if we focus on science parks as a continent, and we are really keen to do that.
Thank you. John, your final comments of what to expect?
We expect this conference to have a lot of impact for us as a country, in as far as how many startups shall have come out of this conference, how many research, development, innovation shall have come up from this conference, how many knowledge, how many innovation and knowledge shall have been commercialized in as far as startups that will have come up from this conference. Therefore, as a country, we look at the impact that this conference is going to leave on us as a country and as a continent. And as Konza Technopolis, we want to be at the forefront of this transformation of our country towards knowledge-based economy. Therefore, we welcome all delegates tomorrow to have a feel. We also expect them to have the feel of magical Kenya that we are also using to lace this conference, so that they will all have an experience that they have never had before in Kenya and in Africa. So we welcome all delegates.
Thank you. Thank you, John. Salvatore, your closing remarks?
My hope and my expectation is that after the conference, we will be better understood, both in Kenya and in the rest of Africa. To us, it's a magnificent opportunity to tell people science parks are nodes of an extended network, all connected. So if something is going on in here, or you need to know something going on in Asia or in South America, you can call up the organization and connect the dots. This is what we want to do, and this is a nice place to do that.
It is indeed a nice place. Lena?
Yeah, wonderful. I'm curious as to learn more about the innovation ecosystem of Africa, learning about the different countries within Africa, and also how we can learn from Africa in the rest parts of the world. I hope to grow our network here in the African division after this conference, and also exploring opportunities to collaborate in a wider perspective. I know you have been very good in benchmarking different parts of the globe before establishing the Konza project, and now it's our turn to come to you and benchmark what's happening here. So I'm really excited, and also to experience the wonderful country of Kenya. We already danced the African dance, and it was amazing. Amazing, and I'm so much looking forward to the rest of the week.
Good. We're hoping we can see your skills at the end of this.
Yeah, they are documented.
Super. Thank you so much, Lena Miranda, who's the board president of the International Association of Science Parks and Areas of Innovation, abbreviated as IASP, and Salvatore Majorana, who's the vice president of the executive board of IASP. Thank you very much, as well as CEO of Konza Technopolis, John Paul Okwiri, and the CS for ICT and Digital Economy Engineer, John Tunui. Thank you so much for joining us here. We look forward to that conference that kicks off officially tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being on the program tonight, and we wish you all the best with that. That is our time here on The Explainer tonight. Looking forward to that tomorrow and in the week to come. Thanks for watching the program tonight and every night. My name is Yvonne Okwara. Have a good night.